Spurs fans, strap yourselves in for another day of hectic managerial rumours, roundabouts and merry-go-rounds. From what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, it is heating up now as Tottenham look to finalise their pursuit of a manager in the next week or so. Will that be done? We don't know. It's not going exactly to plan so far, but we do have some news this morning from Alastair Gold giving us a big roundup on where we currently stand with Mauricio Pochettino, and the main subject of what he has had to say. As you can see below me there, Tottenham have not given up on their pursuit of Mauricio Pochettino despite hitting some very evident roadblocks, and we're going to talk about those roadblocks. We're going to go back over the news that we got last night, which came in thick and fast, including some direct quotes from PSG sporting director Leonardo when he was speaking to Europe 1. So if you do want to hear about that, make sure to stick around. If you're new to the channel and you want more content like this, plus all these updates on Tottenham's pursuit of a manager and the Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk series coming back this summer. We will be touching on some transfers as well today, but it'll be back in full over the summer. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload or go live. As you can see the odds for Tottenham's new manager, the updated odds are beside me there. Quite surprisingly, the odds for Mauricio Pochettino to come back to Spurs didn't change that much yesterday. I think they drifted a bit on Sky Bet and Betfair, but nothing too big to note to kind of ruin our chances or ruin our hopes of getting that. Let's welcome a few people here to the live stream. We've got Random Account saying, I've read a few tweets this morning stating that we haven't left the Super League, and if we were to leave, we would have to pay €300 million. I've seen some reports on that. I'm not quite sure where those sources, what exactly the sources are, but that is very possible because there could be, from what we've heard throughout the last couple of weeks, there is a huge fee to leave the Super League unless all 12 teams agree. And as we know, Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus are still in the Super League. So there could potentially be a huge fee incurred to Spurs there if we do want to officially leave it. We've got Leslie Down saying, do you think Poch is coming back to Spurs, or is this a publicity stunt to extend his stay and get more powers at PSG? I don't think Poch would do that, especially to Spurs. I think there is a chance for this to happen, and as we can see, Spurs haven't given up, and I still think there is potential for this. With Jamie Colleen saying, do you honestly think Levy will get Conte or Poch? I do. I think we will end up one of those. We've got Mitchell Lewis, Jack Luca, Araldo, and Mark Wood and Sean Membrane here as well. Says, "Sup, Matt, hope you're well." I'm very good, Mark. Getting a bit tired of this managerial debacle that we have at the moment, but Mark, good to see you in that live chat as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, look, let's go back over the news we got yesterday. There was a lot of news coming through, and the first bit that came through was when PSG sporting director Leonardo was speaking to Europe 1, who's a radio station in France. Initially, what came about was that he had refused to comment on Mauricio Pochettino's future, and I'm not exactly sure the question that was put to him or the context in which he refused to talk about it, but for about 10 minutes, Spurs Twitter was absolutely ecstatic. He didn't want to comment, it's uncertain, maybe he's leaving, this, that and the other. But within 10 minutes of that initially happening, Leonardo was quoted as saying, the PSG are very happy with Pochettino, who has 2 years left on his contract. Initially that did cause a bit of confusion because we know Pochettino signed an 18-month contract at PSG when he was appointed in January. However, what we have since found out from that quote is that PSG have triggered a clause within Mauricio Pochettino's contract to extend it by a further year, meaning there is now 2 years left on his contract in the French capital. The hope is that this is a negotiation tactic similar to what Ajax did with Erik ten Hag when we first went into negotiations with them. Perhaps it's just a ploy to get a bit more money off Spurs, because the £10 million break clause that was in his contract before this extension, I assume, is gone or has been increased. But regardless of the reason, whether it is a negotiation tactic or whether it is simply PSG wanting Pochettino to commit his future to the club, whatever the reason is, the fact remains that Pochettino's contract length has doubled in the last 24 or so hours. As Stephen Flynn says there, Leonardo had a clause for 1 year left and he just triggered it. Pochettino, this is a pre-agreed thing by Poch. He would have agreed it when he signed in January. In this moment, in this situation, Pochettino has not signed a contract at PSG. It's just a pre-agreed clause that is extending. Dara there mentioning Gareth Bale. We will touch on that story a little bit later, but just to get through the Pochettino news first. Now after that, all the tabloids started jumping on this. We had the Daily Mail saying PSG will not entertain any attempts for Spurs to enter negotiations for the Argentinian manager. They're simply accepting Poch is staying, and that's the end of that. Shortly after that, Mario Cortegana of Goal España chimed in. Now he Sorry, this is AS. Apologies, not Corticana. This is AS, who had initially broken the news about the demands Pochettino had of Daniel Levy if he was to return to London. And shortly after all this, AS said that Pochettino could inform PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi that he wishes to leave the club in the next week. Now, Al-Khelaifi and Pochettino are both in London and have had meetings over the last couple of days. So it was later at the end of last week. However, that is believed to have been about the season PSG had, the season ahead in the transfer window, which, even if Pochettino's future is in doubt, that they do have to prepare for the transfer window, especially with the Euros coming up. There'll be a lot of distractions there from the transfer window. With regards to their transfer window, they are in advanced talks to sign Achraf Hakimi from Inter Milan for a deal that could potentially be worth up to €80 million. However, I put the question to Spanish football expert Guillem Balaguer on his live stream the other day, and he said that isn't really a sign that Pochettino will be staying, because similarly to Spurs, I suppose to some extent, the board makes signings as much as the manager does at PSG. So it may be a Poch signing, but it also may not be a Poch signing. So I don't think we need to read too much into the fact that they are already active in the transfer window. But the news from AS is that Pochettino could inform PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi of his desire to resign in the next week or so. The one thing that needs to be noted as well is if Mauricio Pochettino resigns, it doesn't make it free for Spurs. There is still an element of compensation that would have to be paid to PSG if Poch resigned and then we picked him up as what would essentially be a free agent, but we would still have to pay compensation to PSG. We got Niall Gibbons in the live chat saying Poch and Kane to United. Keep dreaming, Niall. Keep dreaming. Bradley, channel member, welcome to the stream, says we would never have this problem if we didn't sack Poch in the first place, and that I think is the biggest stumbling block for Spurs fans in kind of accepting what's going on here, because even Daniel Levy himself has reportedly admitted to close friends that it was a big mistake to sack Mauricio Pochettino, and I tweeted when that story came out that I admitted it was a big mistake to the internet 5 minutes after it happened. But Daniel Levy is finally coming around to this. Mitchell Lewis says there's hardly any news about him signing a contract extension. I'm not sure if I believe this contract extension. Fabrizio hasn't confirmed this is true. Fabrizio Romano has tweeted about it. He tweeted the direct quote from Leonardo. So the news isn't quite leaning towards saying straight out that he signed a contract extension, but the quote from Leonardo that there are 2 years left in the deal, because previously there was 1 year. So from that direct quote we can gather that there has been an extension triggered for this to happen. And I believe Europe 1, the radio station he was actually interviewed with, has offered clarification on that, and it is an extension that has been triggered by a clause on PSG's side rather than Mauricio Pochettino putting pen to paper himself. Caleb says Fabrizio Romano said that Leonardo has said in the interview that Poch is their long-term coach. Yeah, he said they're happy with it. There's 2 years left, but like we say, it could be a negotiation tactic. Leonardo has been known to do things like this in the past. Mitchell says he quoted it, but he didn't confirm that it's true. He doesn't have to confirm that it's true. It's come from the PSG sporting director, a source more reliable than Fabrizio Romano in this situation. But yeah, that is the news from AS. Now, we did get an update from Alastair Gold this morning, giving us the lie of the ground, really, more than anything. There wasn't any breaking news or anything like that. This is just the update from Alastair Gold. I'm going to run through that article now, but like I said, the main Rob says turn your mic down. You can just turn your volume down, Rob. My mic is fine. Spurs are not giving up on this. They are not giving up on the pursuit of Mauricio Pochettino, and the article begins to say Tottenham Hotspur's attempts to bring Mauricio Pochettino back to the club have hit a major roadblock in the shape of PSG, but they have not given up yet. Football.London understands. It has now been more than 6 weeks since Jose Mourinho was relieved of his duties by Spurs chairman Daniel Levy, and a fortnight since the Premier League season came to a close, with interim head coach Ryan Mason guiding the club to 7th place in the table. Tottenham's managerial search was first launched with the profile for their ideal next manager being that while age was not important, the top candidate must be progressive in outlook, attack-minded, favouring possession-based football, and most importantly would fit into the club's culture. Before we continue with this article, to the 160 people watching now, smash that subscribe button. Make sure to hit the like button as well. It really helps me get this video out to more and more people. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so please do help us out on that for more videos like this, plus the Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk series. Spurs were using cutting-edge techniques in much of what they did in the coaching and physical side during Pochettino's 5.5 years at the club, and there was a desire among many within Spurs to get back to that modern form of management with sports science at the fore. The reference point for the next manager was always Pochettino himself, with the club looking to recapture the lightning in the bottle that saw the Argentine coach young and relatively inexpensive players to 4 straight top 4 finishes, with 3 of those finishes coming consecutively in the top 3 as they finished above some of Europe's rich and powerful elite clubs. A long initial list of potential managers was eventually whittled down to a short list, but there was always a feeling that the reference point and best fitting candidate was Pochettino himself. And I've said that quite a bit. The line that we were always getting from the club was, we want a Poch-like manager, and at the end of the day, who was more Poch-like than Mauricio Pochettino himself. Tropical says, just liked and subscribed. Tropical, thank you very much for that. Anyone else, if you are subscribing, if you are hitting that like button, let me know in the live chat. I'll give you a shout out and to thank you for that. Gold continues, there's a certain irony, of course, in the man perceived to be the best fit for the Spurs job being the very manager Levy decided to get rid of 19 months ago, and should he return, it will be the clearest indication yet of Levy admitting a mistake was made in removing the manager rather than revamping the squad. The Argentine has remained close with many inside Tottenham and maintains a good relationship with Levy despite the decision to relieve him of his duties as a manager in 2019. The pair messaging each other regularly, so they're still friends, they're still in regular contact. There's definitely a good relationship remaining there, which is one of the things that could be forcing Pochettino out of PSG, in that his relationship with sporting director Leonardo is quickly fading away and is quickly whittling down to a very, very toxic one. Football.London understands that when it was put to him, Pochettino indicated his interest in a return to North London. He's always been vocal about his desire to return to Spurs at one point or another. I think we've all been taken aback by how quickly this could happen, but even Jermaine Genius was speaking yesterday, and he said he spoke to Pochettino in January, and in March rather, 2 months after he was appointed by PSG, and he was really, really surprised by how much Pochettino evidently wanted to come back to Spurs. We've got Liquid Len there as well saying, just sub. Thank you very much, Len. Appreciate that. The 49-year-old has made no secret of his intention to become Spurs boss again one day, and admits he has unfinished business in N17 after 2 title challenges and the Champions League final appearance without silverware at the end of it. Pochettino has not yet settled in Paris and is believed to still be living in a hotel in the French capital with his coaching staff, while his wife Karina has, on the whole, remained back in their UK home as their youngest son Mauricio continues his professional career with Watford. And I said this, I've continued to say this throughout the whole saga. This isn't purely a footballing decision for Pochettino. It's not a case of PSG or Tottenham. It really isn't, and it never is as simple as that in football. His family is still living in London. I know his eldest son has gone to PSG with him to work in the backroom staff, but his family is still in London. His heart could still be in London. He's living in a hotel for 5 months, has a perfectly good house back there, the chance to go back to a club that clearly means so much to him, that he worked so much in, and a club where he feels he has unfinished business. So it is down to more, and the relationship with the board, of course, another aspect that does need to be taken into consideration. It isn't simply, where will I win more trophies? And Guillaume Balaguer actually made a good point when I put that question to him on his live stream before the Champions League final on Saturday. And he said, Pochettino doesn't judge success as others do. It's not about trophies for him. It's about where he can go and better himself, work to the best of his abilities, have the biggest influence. It isn't simply down to trophies, which may be a concern if trophies isn't at the forefront of his mind when he comes back. But that's not the be all and end all for him. He's not going to pick PSG over Spurs because of the opportunity of trophies. There is more to it than that for him. Now, there's also the internal politics of managing a, quote, super club like PSG, and all of the demands that entails for a manager like Pochettino, who prefers to foster a close-knit family atmosphere at his clubs and did so at Tottenham, Southampton and Espanyol. There was a hope within Tottenham that a return could be tied up within a fortnight of their final day victory at Leicester, but that hope has been hit by the desire of PSG to keep their man. There had been an expectation that after winning the Coupe de France and the Trophy de Champion, but falling in the Champions League semi-finals and missing out on winning the title with a club that has finished top of Ligue 1 for 8 of the past 9 seasons, would see PSG look to replace Pochettino, and the French media reported similar. However, the French giants have done exactly the opposite and have dug in their heels over the Argentine, with reports across the channel claiming that they have taken up an option to extend his contract by another year until the summer of 2023. So there's that story again, that they have extended Pochettino's contract by a further year. As it stands, PSG have no intention of allowing Pochettino to leave the club, amid links in Spain mooting a potential move to Real Madrid for him. It looks like as though he is out of that Real Madrid race as well. Football.London understands that Tottenham have not given up hope yet of bringing Pochettino back to the club this month, and much could come down to the man himself and his relationship with the PSG hierarchy. Spurs have a little bit more time on their hands, but not much, with the transfer window opening on June 9th in 9 days' time, and the new manager said to have the final say on who arrives at and leaves the club, while pre-season training must be planned for ahead of the non-international players' return in just over a month's time. So we do need to get a move on in this one. It's interesting there that Alastair Gold mentioning the new manager will have the final say on who leaves and joins the club. one of the demands that Pochettino had, as per AS, who said he wants a 4-year contract and decision-making powers on sporting decisions. The other issue for Spurs is that if they allow the saga to drag on for too long, and with it being so clear that Pochettino is their number one choice, they risk losing other potential candidates. Tottenham, like Erik ten Hag, and the Dutchman is believed to have shown an interest in a move to Tottenham. Despite Ajax extending his contract by a year, the 51-year-old is seen as having similar qualities to Pochettino in his ability to coach the best out of a squad while also developing young stars. Finally, there have also been links with former Chelsea boss Antonio Conte after he became a free agent following his exit from Inter Milan. Both men won the league titles this month in their respective countries. Other candidates could yet come into the picture should Spurs fail in their attempts to bring Pochettino back, and situations change at other clubs across Europe as financial realities hit them hard in the wake of the pandemic. For the frustrated Tottenham fans desperate for either Pochettino to return or a new manager to be appointed, the wait looks set to continue for a while longer. Now, that article coming from Alastair Gold of Football.London, who I would heavily advise everybody goes and checks out, and I'll pop the link for that in the live chat if anyone does want to go and read that article for themselves. But I ran through it there word for word, but there it is in the live chat if you do want to check it out. Again, all credit to Alastair Gold for that article. But another wait, another week, another 2 weeks maybe. Spurs, I think, absolutely need to have this done before the Euro start, because if we don't, we're going to be in big trouble. And what does that say for players that do want to leave the club, like Harry Kane, who may be moving on? Heung-min Son, it does look as though he will be signing his new contract very shortly, as Spurs look to formalise that in during the summer. Again, Alastair Gold giving us that story. But look, that is the lay of the land with Mauricio Pochettino at the moment. I quickly want to touch on a story with regards to Gareth Bale and his future, and the Eurosport are saying that Tottenham are close to agreeing a deal with Real Madrid to extend Gareth Bale's loan by a year. I think that was thrown into doubt really when Zinedine Zidane left the club, and we felt as though Gareth Bale may return, and there were some bizarre stories in the press saying that Bale would negotiate his contract to be terminated with Real Madrid, retire after the Euros and pursue a professional career in golf. However, his agent Jonathan Barnett quickly ridiculed those reports. That's simply not going to happen, and Bale has told us his mind is made up. He said it himself. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what he will do, but he's going to leave it till after the Euros to announce his intentions, because it will, quote, cause chaos. That could mean anything. That could mean he's coming back to Spurs. It could mean he's not. It could mean he's retiring to go play golf. Nobody knows what it means, but we will have to simply wait on this one to find out what Gareth Bale wants. It will be after the Euros that he gives us his intentions with that one. But look, I wanted to quickly touch on that. The main story of the day, of the hour, is that Alastair Gold has said Spurs have not yet given up on their pursuit of Mauricio Pochettino, despite hitting some very obvious stumbling blocks in their pursuit of the Argentinian manager. PSG want to hold on to him, Spurs want him, Real Madrid may still want him. Pochettino is a man in demand, and he's one that will have to do a lot if he does want to leave PSG. It'll be quite difficult for him to do so. But look, that's where we're at the moment. That's what we're putting up with. This is what we have to deal with, and this is what we'll be dealing with for the next couple of days, if not weeks. I'm very sure. Everyone, to the 240 still watching, to the 1,000 of you who joined over the last 18 or so minutes, thank you so much. Make sure to smash that like button if you're happy with the news that Spurs are still looking at bringing in Pochettino. If you want more of these videos, more of these live streams, bringing you up to date on everything with Tottenham's pursuit of a manager, plus the Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk series coming back this summer, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well so you get notified whenever I upload or go live. I promise you won't regret it. Let's hope this is sorted out quickly, but I can't imagine it will be. But as always, thanks for watching.